Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the podcast known as The Life I Am Lovin'. I am your host, Vincent. This right here is our hostess with the mostest, MC Scarlett. So first of all, I want to thank all of those who listened to my last episode. Definitely the most difficult episode I've recorded throughout this process. I don't know if there's going to be an episode that's going to be more difficult than that one, but I thank you guys for listening and providing the feedback that you guys gave me. Very appreciative, and I know that it's a very personal story, but I haven't really shared it, and it just felt like it was a story that I wanted to share. I wanted to let you guys know what I was feeling, what that moment meant to me, what that whole day meant to me, how I reacted in that moment. Looking back on it, maybe I didn't react the perfect way, but I reacted, and I think reacting is what is beneficial in the long run. Not to keep things in, not to allow yourself to fill up with anger and sadness and doubt and fear, and just let yourself really experience all the emotions that come with something as climactic as the passing of a family member, specifically a parent, which I have heard, from TV shows and countless stories from others, that no matter what age you are, losing a parent is arguably one of the most difficult things that you can go through in your lifetime. And so I just wanted to express how I lived that day. And I thank all of you for listening and hearing that story and listening to how much love he provided me and how much love he deserved. And so, with that being said, I just wanted to let you guys know that, and then move forward onto some more positive topics of the week. Last weekend, myself and a couple of my friends participated in an adult league playoff game for the first time in multiple years. Yes, Scarlett, I think you might be able to be on the team next year, but we'll have to talk about that because you're not very good at shooting. Yes, I know you'll get better. Couple months and we can talk. So the basketball league that I was in was a 6-team league. We had 8 to 9 players on our team. We won 3 out of the 8, but since there's only 6 teams, we made the playoffs, which is always rad. We did lose to the first seed in the playoffs, but only by 8 points. So, not too bad. We will be back next season, perhaps. Stay tuned. We're the Dolphins, so represent the most intelligent sea dwellers of them all. And I'm really excited to play again. I've always enjoyed playing basketball, playing sports in general. I haven't played organized sports in a long time. Probably since I was 21. I did an adult league then, but then since then I did some intramurals in college. So love getting back out there, love feeling the competitive edge of not just playing outside at the park, but having like refs and it being like legit where you have a certain amount of fouls and there's a clock that's counting you down and all of the aspects that organized sports bring. So that was a fun experience, and I thank all the people who had come to our games and all of my teammates throughout the process. Was very privileged to have you guys by my side, getting those trace wins. So next season we strive for 4. Let's go. So I wanted today's episode to be a mediator between this episode and last episode. Last episode was titled The Worst Day Ever. So as you guys can see by the title of this episode, today's episode is about the best day ever. No, it isn't the day that we got you, Scarlett, but very close. It's the day that your mother and I got married. September 9th, 2023. We actually just told Scarlett recently that she was adopted. She didn't take it very well. I know it was surprising news, but you had to have an idea. You're 28 now. It's about time that you understood these things. I know, we can talk about it when your mother gets home. Anyway, this episode is going to be about the best day ever, aka the day I got married to the love of my life. And Scarlett, you might have not been there literally, but you were the spirit of that day. I hope you know that. Good, I'm glad. Without further ado, today's episode is called The Best Day Ever. And so when I think of waking up that morning, September 9th, 2023, and I was writing this episode, two things came to my mind. One thing came first. I thought, okay, that's a little more recent. But then the second thing came to my mind and I was like, wow, that is a throwback because I had not heard that song probably since the 5th grade. If you know me, I thrive on music. If you've seen my Spotify Wrapped, you understand that I probably listen to music more than the above average person. Call it excessive, I call it background music. So the first song that came to my life, obviously Best Day Ever, we're gonna shout out to Mac Miller. Life couldn't get better, this gonna be the best day ever. But then, this song came to my head, and I'm gonna sing it, and I wanna give some time for you guys to ponder where this is from. Mr. Sun came up and he smiled at me. Scarlett's head bobbing. Said it's gonna be a good one, just wait and see. Dun 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 dun. Jumped out of bed and I ran outside. I looked this part up. Feeling so extra ecstatisfied. It's the best day ever. Take it away, Scarlett. Awesome. It's the best day ever. Now you're getting it. So I'll give you guys 3 seconds to figure out where that's from. 3, 2, 1. You guessed it. It's from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I think it came out when we were in 5th grade. So what? 2005, perhaps? Great song. The soundtrack? I had the soundtrack. There was actually quite a few bangers on there. Recommend you listen to it. Maybe after the pod, give it a couple track plays. I swear you will not regret it. But so I could imagine myself waking up that day and that music coming on in the background of my life at that moment. Just like open my eyes. Mr. Sun came up and he smiled at me. Or I never take a day off, work around the clock, my engineer getting paid off? Question mark? I actually don't know the end of that part. But it sounded right? That's what matters. But I want to do a quick rewind to the night before, which was the 8th of September 2023, because that's the day we actually got to the area. The wedding was in Long Beach, so we went the night before. We had a few people coming in from San Francisco, which is where Jen and I met, and we met them at a couple breweries, had some drinks, had some laughs, had some conversation, and we got back to the hotel that we were staying at. Great couple of rooms we got. Jen's room for the gals had a really nice patio, big old patio space, kind of like a rooftop patio, like a section of the roof. And it had, some chairs and tables and things like that. And so it was nighttime when we got there, and you could see the city and the water, and it was just such an amazing view. Really just kick-started the whole wedding experience on such an amazing note. Throughout the night, we had some friends over, we were laughing, we were talking. The main points, of course, were that I enjoyed spicy chicken for dinner, spicy chicken, fries, and mac. Jen and I, the soon-to-be wife of my life, shotgunned a couple of seltzers. You don't know what shotgunning a seltzer is? You make a hole at the bottom of the seltzer, pull it up to your mouth, and then you open the can and it just rushes down. One of our trademark activities to do at a public drinking event, which are always fun, of course. And that, to me, those two things together in one night, especially the night before my wedding, just really, really set fireworks off early. Like, what a great evening. Friends, spicy chicken, shotgunning seltzers with my wife. Beautiful times. The next day, woke up, September 9th, 2023, day of the wedding, had background music going on in my head. Don't know if it was SpongeBob or Mac Miller, but either way, it's gonna set the tone straight. I wanted to treat my boys to some breakfast. So I met the boys at a cafe early in the morning, like around 9-10 o'clock, called the Potholder Cafe in downtown Long Beach. Mere stone's throw from the hotel. Didn't want to go far and have the possible issue of getting back to the hotel at a decent hour and making sure we were all ready to go, dressed up, and we got to the event at a decent time. So just wanted to make it close, get our food in. We went to the store after, got some drinks, got some snacks, got ready for the long haul. The guys tend to have a lot more waiting time than the girls. You know, they got the makeup, the hair. They got a lot more photos than we do. We need to like hide away so they can just do whatever they want because, you know, women are the priority at all times. Scarlett, you are number one between you and myself right now in this room. So just know that whatever you want, I might give to you. TBD. And so at breakfast, I did have a mimosa. I did think, you know, it was early enough. The wedding wasn't until 5, so I had like 8 or 9 hours to kill. But I did not drink throughout the day besides that until my vows were done, until after the wedding ceremony was done. I did want to make sure that I was fully there, fully able to recite my vows, make sure I was ready to go, ready to get married. So, you know, I was drinking some water. I think we played a little bit of Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Bros. With the boys. And this was one of my favorite parts of the entire day. Even though it was by myself, it was a very intimate experience. And I can tell the way I'm talking about this, you guys might lean towards a certain activity that I was doing, but you're wrong. Get your mind out of the gutters. So I don't know who actually brought these to the door, but Jen thought it would be a great idea for her and I to write each other a card and give each other a gift before we got to the altar, before we got to the venue, just when, you know, we were getting ready, we were just kind of in our own mindsets. And then we have this gift to just really reflect on what the day means to us, what our past mean to us, what our future means to us, of course. Just really soaking in that moment with a nice little personal gift. I will let her eventually tell you what my gift was to her, but I'm just going to let you know what she had given to me. I had gotten ready and I picked up the gift and I went out to the patio. Our patio was a lot smaller than the girls' patio, so it was a lot more intimate. It was just me out there sitting in a chair, you know, looking at the day. It was a really nice day outside. It was probably like, you know, maybe 1 p.m., Long Beach, sun's out, so calm, nothing's going on. And I'm sitting there and I open my gifts and first of all, it's a card, you know, very amazing card, very well thought out, very loving, very generous. And then the gifts were where I kind of lost it in the best way possible. And so the first gift I opened was a Pokemon card. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Poke fanatic of sorts. I'm getting there. I do want to get to become a Poke fanatic at some point. Gotta drop a lot of dough to become a Poke fanatic, so in time. But she got me a Pokemon card, and it's not a normal Pokemon card. It's a personalized Pokemon card. It is a picture of 2 Pikachus. One is in a tuxedo, the other's in a white wedding dress. And the name of the Pokemon card is Mr. and Mrs. Pikachu. And the move on this card is, I choose you. Choose the partner you want to spend the rest of your life with. The card has no weakness to it. This was really nice. It was a really, really personal gesture, an amazing gift. And then the second one was just as amazing, maybe a little more amazing, but I think these two were like neck and neck in terms of the most amazing gifts I could ever receive on the day of my wedding from my soon-to-be wife. The next gift was, so they were some really nice stickers, and they were meant to be stuck on your clothes, specifically the back of your tie to hold that excess part of the tie in place. And it was a picture of myself, my mom, and my dad when I was real young, probably around 8, 9 years old. We're smiling at the camera, and man, I had a dog tag that he gave me that I had in my pocket throughout the day, but you know, having a photo of him on my person was so cool, so amazing, so well thought out, Jen. You did a good job with those gifts. You are a great gift giver. I have to give you that one. And I know it was a great gift because one of my buddies, not going to name names, point fingers, but one of my buddies had just finished getting ready as well, and everyone else was in their rooms getting ready. So I went up and I showed him the gift, and he looked at the gifts and started tearing up a bit. I was like, that's how you know. That's how you know it's a good gift. When you got bros tearing up, that's how you know it's a good gift. So after that, of course, everyone was ready. We headed to the venue. I believe we were the ones taking pictures first. We only had so much time to get the pictures done in the lobby, get the pictures done outside so that, we don't run into the girls and, I don't ruin the entire wedding by seeing Jen in her dress prior to the ceremony. So we got to the venue, and it was the Reef in Long Beach. It's right by the Queen Mary. Real cool venue. It had a lobby area, and then the venue had like a banquet hall, and that's where we got the reception done. The reception had a bunch of windows. You could see the Queen Mary, you can see the water. You walk out of the hall, and there is a bar next to the hall, right outside the hall, and that's where everyone was getting their drinks. And then right next to that was an outdoor area with fire pits, so you can go outside and enjoy the fresh sea air. And then you go the other side, so if you walk away from the bar, then you go up these stairs, and there's a outdoor space on the second level, and that's where we got married. That's where all the chairs were set up. That's where that big arch thing was set up for me, Jen, and our officiant, AJ. Shouts out to you, AJ, to get our thing done. The Reef in Long Beach, cool venue, great ambiance. Definitely recommend it for those of you who are thinking about having some sort of nice event, wedding, quinceañera. I don't know why that was the second thing that came to my mind. Any sort of birthday, graduation. Anytime you want to celebrate, great vibes at the Reef in Long Beach. And so the lobby in particular is where we started our photo journey. And what was cool about the lobby is that there was some really nice chairs, of course. Gotta love the quality of chairs that they had there. But then they had a fireplace with the fire on. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say this until my heart gives out. If you are dressed nice and you are near a working fireplace, take a couple photos. Get some photos. Get some profile pics ready for you. took a few photos by this fireplace. Took a few photos with the boys, of course. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my profile photo is in front of the fireplace. I always recommend it. You guys are dressed nice, take a photo by fireplace. So after that, after the amazing fireplace photos, we went outside and we took some photos by the water. Of course, we had the walking towards the camera, of course. We had shaken hands with each of my boys. We found a couple of bird scooters on the side of the street, so took a couple photos of us on those scooters. Real great times. It looked like we were, looking off into the sunset, about to set sail on our scooters, of course. And then some random woman, random bystander, came by and took a couple photos with us as well. We were on the scooter. She was like, "What's up?" Just trying to get in frame. Lively. Very charismatic. I appreciated it. And so after the photos, we went back to the lobby. And if you go downstairs, there's like these rooms that are kind of hidden. And of course, that's where we stayed for a good few hours while we waited for the women to come in and get their stuff going. And, all of the friends and family who are showing up for the wedding are coming in and getting their stuff going and, mingling, etc. Me and the boys are just downstairs in this little hidden room. We got the windows open. We're playing some games. Guys are drinking. And we were just waiting for our time to shine. And eventually, the time to shine came. We were called upstairs by Brandy, who is our wedding coordinator. She was full-time throughout the entire process until the day of. Shouts out to Celebrations by Brandy. Her and her crew were assisting with the decorations, assisting with the planning, assisting with, how everything's going to go, who's going to walk when, etc. And so Celebrations by Brandy, definitely recommend them. She is great. Her team is great. They are amazing at what they do. The decorations when we walked into the venue were outstanding. All the centerpieces were great. The pictures all neatly organized and put in the right places, and same with all the food and desserts and stuff. Everything was just fantastically placed and organized. So Brandy, shouts out to you. But here comes the amazing part. I guess the whole day was an amazing part, but here was the main reason why we were there, of course. Once it was our time, everyone's walking up the stairs, about to go out to the outdoor area where everyone was now sitting. All of the family and friends who had come to the wedding were there sitting, a lot of chit chat. I found my mom and my grandma once I got up to the stairs, and, we hugged and we just embraced the moment, looked at each other. Let's go. Let's do this. Beyond by Leon Bridges started playing. That was the song I chose. And whew, what a moment that was, boys and girls. I walked down the aisle with my mom, my grandma in a wheelchair. I was pushing her. Just seeing everybody, so many familiar faces from different chapters of our lives together was on another. It was a feeling I had never experienced before in my life, and my mom said it best at one point: "Is like none of these people are ever going to be in the same room at the same time ever again. They're here because of you, and so you just have to soak in as much as you can for the next 5 to 7 hours." So walking down that aisle with my mom, my grandma, my dad in my heart, my boys behind me getting ready to follow me through, my wife hiding somewhere, friends and family all there for us was, all just kind of came to me in that moment as I was walking down that aisle. And so, all my boys coming down, all my girls coming down, and then Flower Girl, shouts out to Jen's little sister, did great. And then it was time. And once everyone was in line, ready to go, Turning Page by Sleeping at Last started to play. And for those of you who know that song, it is huge in the Twilight community. Great song, really emotional song. It is, I think, the song that Bella came out to at her wedding. So Jen really wanted that song, and she picked an amazing song. And I see her walk out for the first time in her wedding dress. She's grinning, big old sparkly eyes. And I just watch her just walk. One of the greatest things I've ever experienced in my life, watching my wife walk. Wow. I couldn't keep my eyes off her at that point. I don't think I looked at anything else the entire ceremony up until it. I was told to look elsewhere, or once the ceremony ended. But besides that, I was just staring at her, smiling. She was the only person at that venue for those few minutes, besides a voice telling us to put rings on each other and kiss the bride. And during our vows, she was giggling a lot, and that was funny. It made me feel like I was doing something right, and I love that giggle. It was wild because, once AJ said, "You may kiss the bride," and, we kissed and we turned, and "The Dog Days Are Over" by Florence and the Machine started playing. It felt like everything had just begun. Like now, it was time to start living some life. It was just such an amazing feeling. At that moment, it just felt like everything in my life made sense from start to finish. Everything good, bad, in between that had ever happened to me. The days that I couldn't sleep, the days that I felt down, the days that I felt like things couldn't get any better, led me to a moment in time where my happiness felt infinite. It was just pure bliss. Kissing her with rose petals flying all around, and we walked back and took another picture and went back into the venue, and we went into the bridal party dressing room, just us, and we toasted with some champagne, and we kissed, and we took a couple selfies. We really just soaked in the moment, like, wow, we just got married. So awesome. Such an awesome feeling. So after that, of course, we had to take pictures with family and friends and the bridal party, etc. And then as everyone went to cocktail hour, we snuck out, took more photos by the water. That was awesome because it was just us, and we were doing some funny poses, but we were just walking around in our wedding gown and our tuxedo, and it was just a moment that you usually, when you get married to someone, and you usually don't wear those clothes with them again. So we were just soaking it in, walking around, enjoying the water, taking a bunch of photos. Felt like, we're being chased by the paparazzi. And then we went back to cocktail hour because we did want to get some fun times in, get a couple drinks in, do a little mingling before the reception began. And so Jen had a really cool idea. Might have been my idea, but I'm going to give this one to Jen, of doing Disney songs, Disneyland songs. So like songs from the rides at Disneyland. So that was a really cool idea. TBH, wish I was there for the entire cocktail hour. Yes, Scarlett, I know you wish you were there too, but you were there in other ways, which I will get to. Thank you for your patience. And so when we had shown up to cocktail hour, we did notice that Soarin' Over the World, or California, whichever version they choose, the song to that ride was playing. And so that was a really cool experience. We mingled for a bit, had some drinks, and then we did the entrances, of course. The bridal party came in all hyped up on good times. Jen and I had walked in and did our welcome speech, of course. I was in charge of doing the welcome speech. I saw a really funny joke on Instagram that day, as well as a couple months back maybe. Jen said, maybe you shouldn't do it. But I did have some of those people who said, yes, do it. Don't even second guess yourself. So I made the joke, got a large reaction, probably a little bit more than I had expected. I will share the joke when Jen comes on. I think that's only fair because we can talk about it together. But then, we had our dances. Jen and her mom had a dance. Jen and her grandpa had a dance. My mom and myself danced. And then we had the speeches. Of course, the best peeps, the mothers, all had a nice little tidbit to say about us and the day and our wedding and everyone around us, just enjoying the times. We ate, drank, of course, and then the party began. Our first dance, great experience, of course. The song that we danced to is called Stan by Black, spelled Six-Lack. Great song. Jen was a little iffy about it being our first dance song, but it's our song. It was our first our song. So I was like, we can't have any other song but our song. And so I think she was okay with it in the end. But Stand by Black, great song, recommend it. And I just want to say how much I really loved that music was like a part of the whole day. And I think that's something about the wedding that I really didn't think about, even though we thought about a lot of different music, and all of the music that we thought about was our music. Like I said before, my Spotify Wrapped is showing an insane amount of hours for each year that I listen to music. So it felt really cool to listen to my music that wasn't like in my head or from my speakers. It was just going on in my life that day. And I wasn't putting the songs on myself. It was just, hey, you're going to walk out, this song's going to play, and it's going to be a song that you absolutely adore. And I'm like, well, this is how I want every day to be. Just a background DJ, just hyping me up at a moment's notice. Yeah, Scarlett, I do think you could be a good background DJ. We'll have to talk later. We can talk about negotiating your contract, maybe adding you as a part-time DJ on weekends. And speaking of Scarlett, how was Scarlett incorporated into the wedding? Well, we couldn't take her. We thought it would be too much, so we did have her literally at a sitter. Yeah, but you had fun. Don't deny that. The sitters love you, and I know you love the sitters. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Scarlett was involved in actually a multitude of ways. First of all, we had a bar sign that was in front of the bar, of course, and it was obviously Scarlett's bar. So it was a nice sign with a picture of her with a bunch of little drinks there. And then the cocktail napkins were Scarlett's face. You're everywhere. You know where else you were? You were on top of the cake. You were the cake topper, the very top of the cake. No, you can't have sweets right now. It's late. You don't even like sweets. Whenever we give you a cookie or like a birthday cake or something, you don't eat very much. I doubt it's 'cause you're full. Don't give me that. Anyway, on top of being on top of the cake, she was also on people's bodies because we had a temporary tattoo station of Scarlett's face. And so everyone would go to the tattoo station, and there was a little water, a little sponge area, and they would put tattoos of Scarlett all over them. Towards the end of the night, once all of the fancy pictures were done, I did put one on my cheek just to really represent the second Lomel, love of my life. Yeah, I know you guessed that's thoughtful because we were thinking of you most of the time. Good amount of time we were thinking about us. Throughout the night, we danced, we drank, we laughed with so many people. It was so cool that any person that we walked up to was a lifelong friend or family member. It was amazing. And so towards the end of the night, there were even late night snacks. There was a French fry station and mini sandwiches, which were really cool, and a lot of dancing. A lot of great vibes, a lot of people going in and out, getting their drinks, conversing. It was really cool to see people interact that we had never seen interact before. And it only felt right to end the night with a song that was really well known, that you can dance to, that everyone can sing along to as well. We wanted to end the night on the best note possible. So we chose Mr. Brightside by The Killers. I'm Mr. Brightside. You guys know how it goes. But everyone was freaking singing to it, and everyone was jumping around, and it felt like the right song to just end the perfect night. Once everyone left the venue after that song, Jen also had another great idea. She thought it would be a great idea for once that song played, everyone left the venue, waited outside, or, left, whatever you guys wanted to do. Jen and I got to dance to a song with just us in the entire venue. That was an amazing experience. It just felt like the cherry on top of the world's most amazing Sunday. We had chosen Those Eyes by New West. Might not be a very well-known song, but it's a great, real song that Jen and I really resonate with. It's kind of just like going out with your significant other, having a great, fun night on the town. When you're out and about, laughing loud, and nobody knows why. Right, Scarlett? That gets you going? We love having people around, but Jen and I have such a great time, just us in our company together. And I think I've said this before, but I think she's the only person on planet Earth that I could spend 24/7 with the rest of my life, and I'll love every single minute of it. That ended the night on the best note. After that, of course, we said bye to everyone. We thanked everyone for coming. We were so tired. We got back to the hotel, drank a little champagne, but we did knock out. We didn't stay up for very long. We had such an amazing day, full of energy and family and friends and running around and enjoying the life that we spent 5 years and change creating, and excited for the rest of our lives together. On that note, I feel like when you have a day like that day, and I wish for every single person on planet Earth to have a day like this, the culmination of everything that you've learned and everything that's hurt you and everything that's made you laugh and cry and feel any sort of emotion, all of those moments culminating to that day. And I wish that everyone has a chance to feel like all of their work, all of the work that life takes to just live and do your thing and try to do what you think is best. I hope you all experience a day where you feel like all of it is worth it, because it is. And you don't know when it's going to be, because before I met Jen, I didn't think that 6 years later I would have the best day of my life by far. 2 years before that day, I didn't know it was going to be 9/9/2023, which is arguably one of my favorite days now. But it just took hope and persistence. But you're going to have some bad days. And then you might have the greatest day of your life the day after. And you never know when that's going to be. Continue to do the best that you can do. One day, someone is going to make you feel like you're on top of the world. And maybe that someone is looking in the mirror. Maybe you haven't realized it yet. But keep going. Because 9/9/23, when I am 27 years of age, who would have thought? What was that? Don't cough at me like that. I guess Scarlett's got a little something in her throat, so I guess I will end it here. Thank you very much for listening. I want you guys to have some great drinks, enjoy some great food, be around great people, be in an awesome environment, listen to some great music, vibe out the way you know how to, and continue to love the life you're living. Take care.